y'all, welcome back to Santino Sunday Cigar Review. This week we're going to be doing the Illusione 88, so stay tuned.
Get it.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to Santino's Sunday Cigar Review. I'm Mike, and this is Maddie, and we've always got Sparks behind the camera. Look, it's a fun November day. It's going to be 75 degrees here in St. Louis, so I'm excited. I'm going to take advantage of this beautiful sunny weather. So today we're going to be talking about, as Maddie said, the Illusione 88, and just a little basic background information, because I wanted to know why it was called the 88, so I did a little investigating, and it was the year that Dion Giolito, I hope I don't butcher that name, moved to Nevada to start his company. So that was the year. So, folks, this cigar is an over a 30-year blend. So it's been out a long time, but it is really worth the review, and I think we're going to have fun with this today.
Yeah. So just a little bit of a basic information about this cigar. So all the way through, binder, wrapper, filler, whole 9 yards is Nicaraguan tobacco, and it's marked as it's a full strength, but I would contest with that, actually. So I was actually able to smoke the cigar before the Tobacco 21 came into effect, and what I would really say more about this cigar than anything is that it's a full flavored, yes, however, it's not full strength. It's not that really nicotine pack that you really see in a lot of your full strength, full bodied cigars. But it does have a lot of that flavor to it, and I'm sure as Mike's smoking through, he's probably finding a little bit of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is probably one of the cigars that has so many distinct notes and flavors, yet it's not historically packed with a ton of nicotine. I'm sorry. As a matter of fact, it probably has one of the lowest amounts in cigars. It's a dichotomy. It's kind of really cool. One thing I will tell you about the owner, Dion, he was very frustrated in the beginning because he would get manufacturers to make what he picked and chose, and then when he would turn his back or leave the country or whatever, they would cut corners and put different leaves in. And apparently one time he refused a whole entire shipment over one characteristic because they changed it on him to save money or cut corners. So I like that he is steadfast in what he believes in, and he doesn't compromise on quality.
Yes.
And so, and folks, when we get to the point where we talk about price range, this cigar is way on the low end. So it's masterfully created with integrity, and the price point is at the low end. We'll get there. But I just like his approach. And now the fun side of Dion is, for those of you that don't know, many of you will, is that he's a big conspiracy buff. And so the name of his company, Illusione, and all the brands of his cigars usually have some connotation with, aliens or conspiracy theories. I mean, things of that nature. So it's fun. But apparently he really believes in this stuff, so I give him kudos for that. So stay tuned. I'm going to smoke into this a bit, and we'll dive into the first segment here of this cigar. Stay tuned. All right, so I'm in the first third, as you can see, and this is different. I've never seen first of all, the construction is it's what I would consider an oily sheen on the wrapper. It shows some slight veining and stuff. It's a nice darker brown wrapper. Maddie's kind of described it. It's basically a Nicaraguan puro, correct? Mm-hmm. So as far as the construction, the feel, the look, it lit up great. What I really liked about lighting this cigar, and I don't usually go into much detail about lighting or the beginning, but what I noticed, it fired up real nice, and I did not get those end of the tobacco bitter taste when you first light a cigar. It was smooth and it was enjoyable the first 2 or 3 puffs, which typically you get, like I said, a little bit of burn, a little bit of, you know, acidy kind of, because you're just lighting that end of that tobacco, and you didn't get this with that. So that was really unexpected surprise. Also, you know, you get a lot of white or gray ash in a cigar. This started out very, very almost black ash. And that was a little different. Now, Maddie, that usually has to do with what burn, composition of
Yeah, so that mostly does with the actual burn itself of the cigar, how hot it's burning. There's many amount of variations that could lead to the different colors, the construction, the quality of the ash. It's honestly could be also how you're smoking it as well. So
yeah, I did.
ash is not a good metric to really use on
I
a
did
cigar.
read that some people reviewed this cigar and said, "Hey, you know, it was wonderful and things of that nature," but they had to maybe relight it several times. I'm not finding that that's an issue. This I've never had to touch it up or relight it, so it's been great. So as far as notes in the first third, it does start out. You get a little wood, cinnamon, earthiness. So it has a lot of the characteristics. This is what I'm trying to see if I can delineate to you guys out there that are watching. It has a lot of characteristics that are typical of a Nicaraguan puro, which is kind of what I started to describe. Folks, I don't know how to put it in words. The difference is it just tastes different. The notes fall on your palate different. The woodiness, the nuttiness, the cinnamon, the spice, the pepper. I don't know what he did. It just tastes different than those adjectives when describing other Nicaraguan puros. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Can you help me with? I mean, it's a cleaner. It's a crisper. You taste each ingredient more in depth.
So
than the natural tobacco that
yeah.
comes from that region.
So like,
I don't know how else to say that.
So, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but like, so for whenever you smoke an AJ Fernandez cigar, you expect that spice coming in. You know that you're gonna get that huge amount of spice and pepperness.
Yeah, that's his style. Yes.
But with these Illusiones, what I've really found is that it's pulled back. Yes, so it's not bold and brash and in your face, but it's still there. You're still getting all the characteristics, but it's somehow more almost muted in a way. But it actually makes the cigar more enjoyable because you can go in whenever, instead of the pepper and spice being right up there at the front, you have to actually look for it. You have to hunt for it, which I think is really cool.
And you're right. And it's great. There's a lot of people that come in. What's your strongest full body cigar? You know, I want to taste it. Well, folks, I think a lot of times people mix up the strength or you know, they see a dark cigar and they automatically think it's full bodied. You know, in general, that concept is true, but this is a perfect cigar where it is full bodied. You get a light nicotine, which is uncharacteristic, but you get all those flavors in a real pronounced, smooth way, which just makes it unique.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're gonna pause for a minute. I'm going to smoke into this a little bit more, and we'll come back for the second third.
All right, so while Mike's smoking a little bit further into this, I actually grabbed one of the MJ12s from our humidor here at Santino's because I wanted to talk about Illusione for a little bit. So we briefly touched on the fact that Dion really loves conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And you can really see it in all of the stuff that he does. Like, for instance, the MJ12, it's wrapped in an aluminum foil almost like substance, which for a cigar is really kind of unique to Illusione. I've never seen a cigar that's been wrapped in something like this until they have. And as Sparks pointed out, it could be like more of a resemblance to the tinfoil hats that conspiracy theorists often get called. And I kind of was talking about how it looks more like a UFO than anything, which I think is really cool. But I actually want to talk about the MJ12 for a second here, because it's called the Majestic 12 is what it's based off of. And the Majestic 12 were a group that was founded by Harry S. Truman back in the 40s and 50s to really, basically,
Well, he brought the top scientists of the
Yeah.
time, the top military officials of the time, and they worked on secret projects.
Yeah, so I thought that that was a really cool nod to all of that, and actually you can see the MJ12 in the newest season of the Umbrella Academy, which I thought was pretty neat as well. But how's that smoking for you?
It's good, yeah. And basically, and just another little side note. You mentioned what's that TV show?
The Umbrella Academy.
And Sparks had mentioned basically this is his whole conspiracy is kind of based after it'd be like the Men in Black you said, Sparks. So that it's very, and what I really like real quick before I go into the flavors. Another thing I started thinking about when you were describing his background and the cool branding is he doesn't spend any excess in presentation, boxes, or advertisement.
Yeah.
If you go in any humidor across the country and you look for his cigar, you're not going to see the bright, flashy, bright-colored boxes with the fancy, artwork on them or half-naked women to try to sell a cigar on a box. He puts all of his money into the quality of the cigar.
Yes.
Now, I didn't read that. I'm just telling you this is what I get. He doesn't have to convince you by having a pretty box to smoke it. You know that this is an excellent cigar. And so I just appreciate that he cuts through all the fluff and gets down to what people want, and that's a good smoke. So I didn't mean to, I just want to add that in, Maddie.
I totally agree. So what are you getting out of it so far?
You know, the notes and flavors are still very consistent, very smooth, and they transition from one another flawlessly. There's no distinct drop off, and then you pick up something new. So, like I said, there are some cigars, and people look for this where they transitionally through each third, and sometimes that is fun and good. But I like that it's true consistency. That's what I'm getting in the second third. So, all right, folks, we're gonna pause for a moment. I'll smoke into the last third. We'll wrap this up, and we'll mention some other things going on. All right, so stay tuned. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up in our third segment. Once again, I'm not gonna delve into this too much anymore. We have some other things we'd like to share, but once again, the smoke is consistent. Never had to relight it. It's an easy draw. The flavors are very consistent and very smooth. I will tell you something that I looked into. I'm going to try now to give some people some pairing advice with every cigar that we put on the show here. So with this cigar, what I found is a great pairing is with a good port wine, maybe like a 10-year tawny or a 20-year tawny port. I think that would be a really good selection for this cigar. Now, look, guys, I think a good bourbon or scotch would go well with this as well, but I think a really good port wine would just be a compliment to this cigar. Maddie, what do you got? We're going to some pros and cons.
Yeah, so I have a couple of pros and cons about this cigar. My pro about this cigar is that it's great for people like me who, whenever they could smoke full-bodied, full strength every day of the week. But thing is that sometimes you just don't want all of that nicotine that full-bodied and full strength offers you sometimes. So this would be a great option to have, like, say, in the morning, whenever you don't want that much nicotine because you'll get sick or something like that. This would be a great cigar to have. My con, however, is the availability of this cigar. Illusione is notorious for having, for being, availability in stores is kind of a weird one with this cigar. Some stores don't even carry it outright. If you can find it, it's a great cigar, pretty much.
And that's, I kind of want to dovetail off of that, and just, with the current, climate and change that's going on around the world, earlier, not just the country, please go out there and support your stores, your local stores. There's a lot of good. If you're watching this video locally, there's a lot of good stores in the area, and some will have this cigar. So please, support your local brick and mortar. Folks, we see on the news that Europe is being shut down systematically, country by country. We have been told that apparently this new regime might do the exact same thing. So, folks, this does not only impacts if small businesses in general, but especially this industry, can stay afloat in another shutdown. So please, please, please go to your favorite local store anywhere in the country, folks. Find what you like, and please support your brick and mortar. Okay. As far as I forgot to mention my pros and cons, so I'll back up here. So the pro guys, it's really easy. Phenomenal cigar. Price point is at the lower end of that $8 to $12, what we call in the industry the average price for a premium tobacco. Okay, that's just what's considered. So it is on the lower end. You got to try it. The con, I kind of agree with Maddie, and we do this brand a little disservice here because our humidor is a little smaller, and so it doesn't get maybe the greatest visibility, but we're going to correct that and any other brand that has that problem. But folks, it's a cigar you can't pass up. Mm-hmm. I know they don't make. Another con would be for me, if I can have two, is they don't make a lot of variety or sizes, but folks, what they do make is all excellent. There's plenty of cigar brands that have 100, 200, 300 different facings. But come on, we kind of know who those brands are. And can you honestly say they're all worth smoking? I bet 10% of them are worth smoking. Where this company, you don't get a lot of variety, but it's all excellent. Mm-hmm. So, all right, we're ready to wrap this up. Yep. What else you got, Maddie?
I think that's it.
All right, folks, we don't have a lot to promote because of the uncertainty of the time. So we haven't been mentioning anything because there's really not much we can do or mention.
Yeah.
But when things do change and open back up, we'll have liquor event tastings. We're going to have cigar events like most other places will have. Just important thing is just remember, go in there and support your local brick and mortar. I can't tell you how many people I want to thank for the first shutdown back in March and April and even the early part of May. So thanks for the support and continue it. All right. And remember, here, folks, at Santino's, we smoke, we drink, and we know things.
Have fun, y'all.
Yep.